Everyone wants to be a millionaire, but almost no one stops to ask why. If I told you that chasing millionaire status as a goal is actually one of the reasons why you're still struggling financially, would you believe me? I've watched people hit $1 million and still feel poor. And I've watched people build real, calm, actual freedom with a fraction of that. So something doesn't add up. After helping people budget, get out of debt, build real savings, and invest in the stock market, I've realized that the number that most people are chasing isn't even the right number. It's just the loudest number. If you're serious about actually becoming financially free and not just sounding impressive at a dinner party, I'd do it in 4 steps. You don't need a 6-figure salary. You don't need a lucky break. You don't even need $1 million. You need the right target and a system to hit it. Let's kick things off with step 1, which is to find your actual number. Most people have never once sat down and calculated what enough actually means for them. So how do you know what you're working towards if you've never done the math? You're basically on the road driving without a destination. You're wasting gas. Here's the truth. Most people chase $1 million because it sounds impressive, not because they ran the numbers. Think about it this way. $1 million sitting in savings sounds massive, but depending on your monthly expenses, it might not even be enough to replace your current paycheck for very long. Meanwhile, someone with a fraction of that, say $400,000, but zero debt, a paid-off house, and low monthly expenses might already be more financially free than the person sitting on $1 million. The number by itself means nothing. It only means something next to your actual life. So here's what to actually do. Add up your real monthly expenses. Not what you think you spend in a month, but your actual expenses like your mortgage, car insurance, car loan, groceries, and childcare expenses. Multiply that number by 25. That is a widely used estimate for how much you need to live off that amount indefinitely. That number is your real freedom number. So let's do an example. Let's say your fixed expenses come out to $3,000. If you multiply that by 12 months, then you need $36,000 a year to survive. Now, multiply $36,000 by 25 and your freedom number is $900,000. But here is the interesting part, my friend. If your fixed expenses were only $2,000 a month, your freedom number drops to $600,000. So for a lot of people, their freedom number is way under $1 million. For others, it's more. Either way, now you're working towards something real instead of something that sounds out there and massive. So now that you know your target, I want to say that knowing the number doesn't put a single dollar in your pocket. So how do you actually start closing the gap between where you are and where you need to be? That brings us to step 2, which is get out of debt, okay? Listen, most people stack up as much money as they can while debt is quietly draining them every single month. And that is like trying to fill up a bathtub with the drain wide open. Why does it feel like you're working so hard but never actually getting ahead? Because interest does not care how motivated you are. It doesn't care that you got a raise. It just keeps compounding against you every single month, whether you're paying attention or not. Picture your typical month, okay? You make minimum payments on your debt and the balances barely move. You tell yourself, I'll just keep making the minimum payments until the debt is handled. But handled keeps getting pushed back another year and then another year. Here's what actually breaks that cycle so you move closer to your freedom number. Pick the smallest debt you have and throw every extra dollar at that one debt while making minimum payments on everything else. Once it's gone, take the payment you were making on it and roll it into the next one. So if you have a credit card at $2,000 and a car note with $8,000 left on it, make minimum payments at the $2,000 credit card until it's all done. And then take that money you were applying on that credit card and start throwing all of it at that $8,000 car note. That is called the Snowball method. It builds momentum and more importantly, it gives proof to yourself that this actually works and gives you the psychological win to move on to the next debt until you're completely debt-free. Now your paycheck is not leaking out the sides every month on high interest debt. Now, after you've paid off your debt significantly, it is time for you to make your money actually work for you instead of just sitting there. Which brings us to step number 3. buy yourself time, okay? Listen, most people think that money buys stuff, but the truth is that the best thing money can buy is time. Time to leave the job you hate. Time to spend with your family. Time to take a vacation without going into debt. Time to say no to things you don't want to do. The way you buy that time is by owning assets that work even when you don't. The best asset you can buy that doesn't require a lot of money up front is stocks, okay? If you're not investing in the stock market, I'd encourage you to start. The best thing about investing in the stock market is you don't need $20,000 to start. You don't even need $100 to start. You can start today with as little as $1. And when you start, because I know you will, start by opening a Roth IRA and investing in simple, low-cost index funds. If you're new to investing and this sounds a bit daunting, then I've created a beginner's guide to investing. If you want a copy for yourself, then type guide in the description and I'll reply back with a copy for you. The goal isn't to get rich overnight. The goal is to own more assets every year than you did the year before. Over time, those investments can actually begin generating income whether you're at work, asleep, or spending time with the people you love. That is how you start buying back your time, my friend. But there is one mistake that keeps a lot of people from ever feeling financially free, even after they've built wealth. And that is exactly what step 4 is all about. And that is defining your freedom. Here is a question that I want you to think about. What does financially freedom actually look like to you? Is it retiring early, quitting a job you hate, spending more time with your kids, traveling the world, starting your own business, or simply sleeping at night knowing you don't have to worry about the next unexpected bill? Whatever your answer is, that should be your next goal, not millionaire status. Too many people chase a bigger paycheck, only to buy a bigger house, right? A newer car, and a lifestyle that they have to keep working harder to afford. They make more money, but they never gain more freedom. That is because they never defined what enough looked like in the first place. Remember the freedom number we calculated in step 1? That number wasn't just about money. It was about giving you the freedom to live life on your terms. Every financial decision you make from this point forward should answer one question. Does this move me closer to my freedom or further away from it? Because the goal was never to become a millionaire. The goal was always to build a life where your money gives you choices instead of stress. Now, $1 million isn't a bad goal. It's not, but it's actually the wrong finish line if you don't actually know why you're running towards it in the first place. So follow these 4 steps. Find your real number. Eliminate debt so you can reach it faster. Buy yourself time by investing early, and define your freedom for your own self. The goal was never the millionaire title. The goal is making sure that every paycheck leads you closer to your freedom number. You got this.